Sinusoids, all types of transformations in one graph. Let's see what you know and what you've learned in the individual lessons as you've worked on your sine graphs and actually cosine graphs too. All right, first of all, just to review, we have the basic formula for a sinusoid given here. Okay, in case you haven't put that into your notes yet, there it is. All right, amplitude. If we talk about amplitude, we're going to look at that to be the absolute value of your A. Period, again, is 2 pi over the absolute value of B. And the midline is going to be up or down dependent on your D value. All right, continuing on. Here we go. Y equals -3 sine of the quantity pi over 3x. Okay, so let's start listing our information. Let's start with amplitude. Okay, amplitude for this problem is 3. I see a negative sign out here in the front that tells me I'm going to have to do a reflection of my graph. Okay, in calculating the period, okay, period is going to be 2 pi over 3. So that becomes 2 pi times 3 over pi. Pi's cancel, so we end up with a period of 6. Okay, midline, no change, and we're not shifting left or right. Okay, so let's start out with our amplitude. Okay, so because of that 3, we need to move or mark on here up and down 3, because we're going to have a stretch of 3 from the midline. Midline is at 0. Okay, so up and down 3. Our period goes to 6. Okay, so from 0 out here to exactly 6. Okay, so we're doing our sine graph. So for sine, we know that we have a 0 at 0, 0. We start at the beginning, period, ending at the period at 0. And halfway in between, we have yet another 0. Okay, now we're going to go up and down 3 for the amplitude. But remember, we have to do the reflection. So halfway between 0 and 3, so at 1.5, we're going to go down to -3 because of the reflection. Between 3 and 6, so halfway between at 4.5, we'll be up here at 3. Okay, and then we can draw our beautiful sine graph. Okay, one period, it's reflected with a period of 6. Okay, next up, we have y equals sine 2 pi over 3x plus 2. Okay, so just like in this previous one, okay, let's go through and identify our important pieces. Okay, amplitude for this one is just 1. Okay, so I'm looking in the front. I do not see any kind of reflection. Okay, second thing we did was calculate the period. 2 pi over, okay, b. This time it's 2 pi over 3. All right, so we've got to do a little work here. So 2 pi times the reciprocal, 3 over 2 pi. Well, the 2 pi's just cancel. We're having a period of 3. So we'll have one cycle of the sine graph between 0 and 3. Okay, lastly, we have a plus 2 out here. Okay, that plus 2 means we're going to shift up 2. So that means our midline is going to move. So this time our midline is going to be at 2, okay? All right, so let's see if we can put all this together. Okay, so first off, I'm going to move my midline. Okay, it's going to come up here too. So I'm just shifting that x-axis, sliding it up. Okay, we're going to have a period from 0 to 3. So from 0 to 3. Okay, we will see one cycle of the sine graph. Amplitude, just 1, so we're not getting too crazy with that. All right, let's see if we can sketch our picture. Okay, so we're going to start here at 0, end at 0, and halfway in between we'll have a 0. Okay, normal graph, no reflection. So halfway between 0 and 1.5. So about right here, we're going to go up 1. Halfway between again, what are we here? 1.5, so maybe right about here. And then we can draw our beautiful sine graph. okay? And like we've talked about before, if we want to, we could extend this out. We could put a second period on our graph. Okay, I'm just gonna extend it out another 3 spaces because that's our period. Okay, so we can go through here. We'd have a 0 here. We'd have a 0 halfway. Halfway in between, we'd be up 1. Halfway in between again, down 1. And you could draw a second period of that sine curve. Okay, lovely. All right, while we're at it, I got one more. Wow, check that one out. I see numbers everywhere. All right, so let's lay it out, see what we know. Okay, I'm gonna work above here so we have room. Let's start with amplitude. Okay, amplitude's the A. That's just the absolute value of 2, so it's 2. Okay, period. 2 pi, divide by the B value. Okay, B is 2 pi over 5 this time. Wow. Okay, so 2 pi times the reciprocal, 5 over 2 pi. The 2 pi's cancel. Period is 5. Ah, that's not too bad. All right, so then inside here, we see a -1. Okay, so that's going to be a horizontal shift to the right 1. And this -3 on the end, okay, that says to move down 3, so that's going to affect your midline. Okay, so we're going to have a midline at -3. All right, here we go. Let's put all this information into practice, okay? So for y equals -3, I'm going to just drop us down here. That's your midline. X-axis just slides down, okay? I have an amplitude of 2, okay? So that means I need to mark up and down 2 from the midline, okay? So that means I'll go up here 2 to -1. I'll go down 2 to -5. Okay, so that means my graph is happening between those 2 green lines. All right, now, what does the period look like? Well, we have to shift to the right 1, okay? So I'm going to be over here at 1. And the length of that period is 5. So from 1, we want to go 5 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually going to stop us out here at 6. Okay, now here we go. We're going to try and get our graph going here. Okay, so on the midline, we plot our zeros, the beginning and the end, because we've got the sine graph. Okay, halfway between 6 and 1. Well, let's think where that would be. If we're at 6, about 3.5. Yep, that's right. We'll have the other 0. Okay, we do not have a reflection because the amplitude's positive out there. So that means we just have to go halfway from 1 to 3.5. So about right in here. And halfway from 3.5 to 6. About right here. And then we can draw our beautiful sine graph using all the transformations and information that we know. Okay. All right, I hope you found that helpful. And again, that's kind of the summary video, doing all the transformations and then recognizing all the pieces and parts of what we've studied in this section 4.4. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're doing well with your graphs.